We were just
All right,
singing
guys.
your praises. Maurice was just singing your praises of
I'm
what
a
culture.
subscriber and a big fan of whatculture.com. So thank you.
I was about to start this by saying I was a big fan of you guys. So to hear that coming
You.
from you, Maurice, I
Thank you.
appreciate that. I was not expecting the roles to be reversed here, but
Well,
let's get right into it. We're talking to Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche here today of the Animaniacs season 2 dropping on Hulu Friday, November 5th. This is very exciting stuff. The first season dropped obviously last year, a show that's been around for almost 3 decades at this point, on and off, which is absolutely insane.
It is.
Rob, Maurice, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Oh man, we're
feeling
breathing.
great.
We're not in jail, but the day's not over yet.
Yep.
Thank you, Graham.
Privileged to be sitting here talking to you about Animaniacs season two.
Amen.
Just knowing that we've got 13 more episodes to bring to the viewing public via Hulu, and they're great. They're great. It's great to
Yeah.
This
work
seems like
on.
the
Can't wait to see them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm looking forward to everyone else seeing it as well. And it seems like the perfect time for a show like this to be dropping. I mean, we're still very much in the midst of a pandemic. More
Oh,
people are home watching it on Hulu. It seems like this was the perfect storm. I mean, with the first season dropping last November, like it was like Tiger King. Like everyone's at home watching the same shows.
Yeah.
Rob, I'll start with you. How important was that for you? And thinking of the timing of Animaniacs coming out right now.
very important. Last year, I used to say that the fact that we were able to take this big vat of stinky, foul lemons that 2020 gave us and make a big, nice vat of Acme lemonade, thanks to Hulu, um, it was a huge privilege to be in that position. And you're right, it hasn't. We still are in the middle of it, and we still are wrestling with so many cultural issues and political issues and all that. And we are finding over and over again because we're getting back to a little bit of normalcy with conventions. And Maurice and I just did an Animaniacs in concert back in Virginia over the weekend, and with our pal Randy Rogel. And the overarching takeaway is that people are so glad to be able to find a reason or to go out and laugh and blow off some steam and have some. So to be literally in the privileged position, again, thanks to Hulu, of being able to deliver a big vat of Acme lemonade is an incredible thrill for us, as you can imagine, Graham. It's just a blast.
It's time for Acme Lemonade.
Yes, thank you very
And you
much.
write the next verse. Yeah, I'll echo what Rob said. It really is wonderful to be able to, because yeah, we're not out of the pandemic yet, but I'm one of those optimists that thinks that he sees a tiny little pinprick of light at the end of the tunnel that isn't an oncoming train. That
Yeah,
the fact that we are at cons, that we're doing comic cons now, and we've got enough vaccinated people that's. I mean, certainly, we've been being safe, and we've been able to interface with people again in real life. And to be able to talk about the show and feel the excitement that they feel
oh,
when they come to us at these conventions and talk about can't wait for season two. It's just very uplifting to know we've had a positive impact on people.
well, and you,
And it's
the
so,
Graham,
oh,
the
sorry,
way
go ahead, Rob.
no, the Graham, the way that you've started our lovely conversation, you're a professional journalist, yet you seem to be quite excited about Animaniacs, and that's something that happens over and over again. And as I said in a previous chat, that we're done with these episodes. They're locked in, and and so to know that what you've seen has gotten you excited for your fan base is a big deal, my
Yeah.
friend. Very big deal.
Yep.
And it's awesome with a show like this too. I'm 26 years old, so I grew up on Animaniacs and everything else you guys have been involved in. I mean, you look at the IMDb pages for both of you gentlemen. Stitch, Ruben, Rob. I know you played
Ah,
Ruben on the Stitch.
still
One of
five.
my
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah,
Carl Weezer, obviously on Jimmy Neutron. That's a more popular recent one as well.
yeah.
For you guys with a show like this, it's it's amazing. With a show like this, what do you guys feel like you're more connecting with? The longtime viewers that were watching the original show, the new viewers, obviously a mix of both. But what's kind of the feedback been like the last year?
Well, I'm doing the show for both those groups. I want people who love the OG series to connect with this somewhat edgier version of Pinky and the Brain, although it's logical that they're edgier. 27 years have gone by. Brain still hasn't taken over the world.
Yeah, he's pissed off.
He's pissed off. He's ready to use, vaporizing rays and things like that. He's not above it on fictitious cities, of course. I wouldn't want that to happen in the real world, obviously. But we're gone are the mass hypnosis plans. We're using those less and less, and just he's a bit more despotic. And but I'm doing the show for both those groups, and hoping that the fans of the original get with where we're going on the show, and of course, your generation, you and my son are a year apart in age. Totally digging the new show, so it's for both.
That's what's really overwhelmingly. Well, just overwhelming, I should say, is when we go to meet people, we'll say, gosh, I grew up watching it. Now my nieces and nephews watch it, or my parents my dad started watching this when I was in college, and now my dad is my son's grandfather, and we all watch Pinky and the Brain or Animaniac. That is such a huge deal to know that we're involved in something that is cross-culturally important. I don't know how to thank people enough for being that ardent in their support. It's just fantastic, man.
It's so funny too. I was watching some videos on your guys' work and all the various characters you guys have portrayed over the course of your careers. And like I said, you go to the Wikipedia page, you would sprain your finger just scrolling through all the various voices you guys have done over the last number of years. And one of the most funniest comments I had seen in one of those videos was that they said that their childhood resided in the throats of you two gentlemen in terms of all the voices that you guys have done. So when you hear stuff like that, and obviously have all the interactions at these Comic-Cons, you just talked about it. Both of you guys did. So hearing a comment like that, how much is it? You don't really know how to respond, right? It's quite crazy.
Oh,
It makes me want to clear my throat. I will say that because
I want to get Rob Paulsen out of my throat. No, I honestly, Graham, it really is impossible to quantify.
it's an honor. It's all you could say. It's just an honor. Because that's what Mel Blanc and Oz Butler and all those folks were to us. Paul Frees, they were our childhoods, and to think that we've stepped into that role for other people, even though in here I'm just this lucky class clown who's lucky to make a living. I know they're looking at me the same way I'm looking at those classic voice actors who did something, the closest thing to magic outside of magic, to bring a drawing to life with a voice that you can't turn your ear from. I'm thrilled with that.
This whole glorious career that I still am enjoying, and now chatting with my new friend Graham, it is a privilege for which Maurice and I have worked very hard, and and I'm telling you, this is the God's honest truth, we get how lucky we are. Never do we take it for granted. It is we go to these events, Comic-Cons, other cultural events, in which people say that, you're the voice of my childhood, and we go home exhausted from 3 days of saying thank you, Graham. So I don't know that there's a better way to move through life. You know what I mean? It's just incredible.
It's amazing. And especially now too, with social media. I mean, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when the show first started, like, again, my generation, you're going to talk about the new episode on the school bus the next day on my way to second or third grade. Nowadays, you could just tweet it out. I know, Rob, you're huge on social media, Twitter, TikTok. My girlfriend, I was talking to her. I was telling her that I was talking to you today. And she's like, oh yeah, he was on TikTok last year with the Carl Weezer voice and all this other stuff. It was hilarious. But, social media has been huge. The show is huge. People can check it out starting November 5th on Hulu, season 2 of Animaniacs. Rob, Maurice, this has been awesome, guys. Thank you so much for the time. Again, you're the voice of my childhood, and I can't say that enough. I appreciate
Thank you,
the
Graham.
time.
Well,
when I take over the world, you shall be spared, my friend.
Yes.
Yes.
And you tell your girlfriend that I asked her to make sure to finish her croissant. Okay.
Any Reuben impression real quick there, Rob?
Go over there, have yourself a hot fudge marshmallow and tuna fish hoagie. Knock yourself out, kid. Bada boom.
I feel like I'm 10 years old all over again. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome one.
All right, man.
Take care, Graham.
Thanks, buddy.
Well.
Thanks, guys. Take care.